Hey, we're live. Excellent. End of the week. Each week, I'm bringing you a different origami fold, and the idea is hopefully it should give you a time to just focus on something else completely different, and hopefully unwind from your week, whatever you've been up to. So, I'm offering origami really as a way of bringing a moment of connection. I know we can't be together physically, but I think this is pretty good. This is actually how I've learned origami is through YouTube. Um, and it's a chance hopefully to focus to make something amazing just out of paper. The possibilities are absolutely endless. There's so many beautiful things you can make. It's a hobby. I think we'd all got so sort of busy that we'd almost forgotten how important hobbies are. So I'm hoping this will spark something new in you. And once you get going with origami, the possibilities really are endless. There's so many incredible things you could do. Lots of people have made amazing discoveries and have been very kind to share them. You can also yourself start playing around and seeing what happens. It's a bit like a kind of a puzzle. So I'm bringing along, I think, one of my favourite folds. I normally work in a hospital in UCH and work with patients and staff on well-being. And really, origami was taught to me by a patient. She felt it would really help and asked me to learn and pass it on. And I would never have done that unless I was asked. So I've been very, very glad to have been encouraged, because we quite often don't want to leave our comfort zone. We want to do something that we find easy. Lots of people say, "I can't do origami." It really is folding a piece of paper. Of course, you can do that. You just have to be very patient and kind, and with time, you will get there. It's about that focus. So I'm just having a little chat because it often takes a few minutes for people to arrive. So this week I'm sharing two planes, a circular one and this one, which is called a swallow. Now, the swallow was taught to me by someone who was a patient, and I visited. Wasn't that interested in doing origami, but said, actually, I'm gonna show you something which I've learned as a boy, and he showed me how to make a swallow plane. And it's only actually a flying. I think I know the reason why it might be called swallow is because it's circles. It can kind of fly and it can kind of go round. It can even come back to you. So it's got a really interesting movement. It's a real piece of engineering. Origami can be called paper engineering, and this really is beautiful, beautiful piece of engineering. And the thing is, I guess it does depend how well you fold it as to how well it will fly. So this might be quite nice if you are in a house with other people, then this could be fun to maybe have a competition. But for some of you, if you're by yourself as well, why not make a plane? It's a really fun thing to do. You never quite know how they're going to fly. The other one is a circular plane, and I've been wanting to make one of these for so long. It's very simple actually to fold, so I'll be showing you this. This actually came from a NASA activity, so you've probably got an idea there that actually it might fly quite well. And they vary. Sometimes I can just plumb it, but if you get the right angle, it can fly really well. One of the first ones I made, this design, I threw across the room, and we still haven't been able to find it, so that's a bit of a clue. So in a moment, I want you to grab some paper, and we will fold from A4. So in this country, A4, other countries, letter, it will all be fine. And I'll show you from paper each time, because that's something we all have at home, whereas not everybody has origami paper at home. And it's also about encouraging you to develop confidence that you can do this with any paper. And I actually think it's rather lovely origami that's been made from kind of paper that you might have thrown away, or maybe some kind of souvenir. So, right, so we have got somebody there. I'm going to grab a board. I might talk just for a minute more, and then we'll get going. And I hope this can be a nice way to sort of de-stress from your week. And so I'm doing this live fold every Friday at 8 and every Wednesday at 2. So, yeah. And so far for this lockdown, I've done a lotus, a tulip, a basket. This is a bit of a memory test, isn't it? A rabbit, a chick, and then now we're playing. So it's been 6 weeks of lockdown. It feels like a long time. It'll be interesting to see how much we get through. I've already got ideas for next week as well, which I hope you'll like next week's. But I'm not going to say right now. So if you maybe grab a piece of paper, I think I might as well get started. I hope maybe others will join, but we will find out. I can always start again. Right, here we go. So I'm going to direct it down. So if you take your piece of paper, and we're actually going to use the whole paper here, so we're going to look after the whole thing. So if we take the corner and bring it over, hope you can see this okay. And again, it's lining up the edge, so it's all in line. I think the joy with origami is slowing down so you get things really exact. And that's been very calming. There we go. Like so. I'm keeping it good. Well, it's not quite perfect. Great to be a little bit perfectionist for this. No harm in being a bit perfectionist. Giving good, strong folds, it will give it strength. That's it. And then the same on the other side. So I hope maybe during this time you're also trying to do exercise. I think this is I'm trying to do physical exercise is very important, but mental is also very important. So do it on one side, and we'll do the same on the other side. So it's basically across at one end. So this will be quite an old design. One of my origami friends has said he learnt this as a boy from a Rupert Bear manual. And this comes from someone maybe in their 70s or 80s. So I would guess this isn't fairly old, sort of traditional pain. So it's a bit hard to know where this has come from. But what a wonderful thing to discover and find something, and then it becomes part of everybody's childhood or many people's childhoods. That's it. So it should be a nice cross at this end. Hope that's working. And then if you turn it over, and if you fold in the middle there, so we're going to do a horizontal fold through the middle of the cross. So to do that, you're going to slightly change direction there and aim for the end of the cross. Like so. That's it. There we go. So it should look like this. So we've done those diagonals. The lighting's a bit strange at this time. But there we go. So your next step is, at the moment it's a bit of an odd shape. If you put your finger underneath the middle of this, you should be able to push up the middle of that cross and whoop, it pops up. Did you see that? So if it's down like that, put your finger underneath the middle, push it up, and it pings into shape. Next, we're going to tuck the sides in and we'll squash it down like so. Did you see? So it was out here, and you should be able to simply push the sides in and fold it up. Great. Next step, taking the corner, and we're going to bring it up to the top there. So it's down there, bring it up to the top. So I'm going hopefully fairly slowly so you can join me at the same time. It's something just quite restful, isn't there, about watching hands and paper and how to get it right. Easier for me to press it down there. And then the other side, bring it up to the top, same thing. And hopefully when you're doing this, everything else just disappears as you just become engrossed in this little task, but a fun one. There we go. So the top of this, you could bring down to the bottom. So these are sticking up. Oh, thank you. Thumbs up from the person who's joined me. That's it. So bringing this up. Oh, we've got another person. Fantastic. Welcome. Whoever you are, you have doubled the audience. I wonder if for this other person whether you need me to go back a step and show you so you can quickly catch up. I don't know if you can write any comments as to whether you need to do that. So what I did, sorry, I'm going to have a quick recap, is we're going to make a lovely swallow plane, and I'm going to really briefly show you. we'll get back to that. So we did a diagonal at one end, so it's like a cross. So a cross like this. You may be able to catch up. It's funny, isn't it? Whatever time have it, it'll always be a few minutes late. That's fine. It's like any invitation, isn't it? It's polite to come a few minutes later. That's it. And then, so you've done one diagonal and then the same on the other side. Hope you don't mind a recap. Oh, say hi to Shara. Lovely. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Shara. I wonder if you're keeping up with me. So we've done a nice little diagonals there. And if you turn it over, and if you do a horizontal in the middle of that cross, you'll see there's also videos of this as well. But I think it's rather nice that we're here live at this moment in time. So we're together probably in our sitting rooms doing this. And then once you've got to that point, you should be able to put your finger underneath the middle of this and push it up, and it pins up. So we're almost back to where we were. So you should be able to squash the sides in. Like you're following this. Squash it down. And then with the sides, you can bring that up to the top. I'm going a little bit faster because I'm aware someone was already with me. So you're having to be very patient. But origami is all about patience. Yes. That's it. And then bring up both sides. Oh, someone's disappeared again. I don't know whether that's the later person who joined me or the earlier. It's impossible to tell, isn't it? I will quite happily be here doing origami. And then this top corner, we're bringing down there. As I said, you'll be able to look back at a video. So if you arrived a bit later, then that's fine. There we go. Bringing it down there. Might as well just have a one here now. Okay, so our next step is to fold it in a straight line from the top, like so. So it's on the outside there. And we bring it into a straight line. And we're going to put it down on the board here to get it, because it's quite thick by this point. So, yeah. And then the same thing on the other side. But I do like YouTube because it means anyone can see this, really. Whereas I've done some folds on Facebook, which is actually more people often see it at the time. But with YouTube, you can look back and the quality is much better. There we go. And then I want you to do the same thing at the other end. So again, taking the side and bringing it into a straight line. So next week, I'm going to bring along something a bit different. It seems to have another idea. Hope you can see that. So from the bottom, bring it into a straight line. This looks a bit like a kite now. It's really thick paper now, but that will give it a good weight. Okay, so if you open it up, you should see that you've got a sort of series of lines. One that's going that way, one that's going that way, and you should be able to pinch the sides and kind of push this little triangle upwards, like so. So squeezing the sides and then keeping it upwards, so it should close up like that. It's quite thick there now. And your next step is to take the paper and just fold it back so this sticks up. I wonder how you're getting on, Sarah. Hope it's working for you. That's it. So our next step is we're actually going to make the tail next. So we're going to take off a strip here. So if we simply fold it to that line and do it a good strong fold once you're happy with that. Good strong fold, because in a moment I want to tear that off. Can you see? So I had it open there and I folded it down. Good strong line. And I'm showing you without scissors just to show that you really don't need any special equipment. You could use scissors, but I think you could tear if it's a good strong fold. So if you tiniest little tear there, and then you should be able to tear it off. There we go. That's great. So you've got a strip. This is going to be the tail. So if you simply fold it in half lengthwise, again, I'm having to press down really for this. Ugh. Strong fold. And for the tail, simply take one end and fold it into the middle there. So one end and fold it. There we go. So that will be your tail. We can put that aside for now. We'll go back to our swallow. So you should be able to we're going to fold it in half. So if you make sure it's the same way around as me, can you see there? With this on top. If you simply fold it up in half, like so. That's it. And next, the wings are kind of up in the air. That's not going to quite work. They need to come sideways. So to do it sideways, it's folding from that point down, tiniest bit of an angle, but pretty much parallel. So it's up here and then folding it down like so. And then the same on the back. So just to match really. So just folding it down. There we go. So we're almost there. We've got a sort of body there. If you want to make it really special, we can also give a little flaps at the side. This is, don't know what difference this makes to the flight, but it probably will make a difference. So I think this is worth doing. So the side there, if you fold it up a little bit, like so, and do the same thing on the other side. There we go. Right, we're going to then put our tail in. So if you turn it upside down, there's a nice little ridge here, and you should be able to just push that end in. And I guess because you fold it over like that, it actually fits really well. So no glue needed. So hopefully there you have made your swallow. And I'll show you how to fly it in a moment. But before that, I think we might as well do the circular plane as well, because it's a really good one. So hopefully I hope your swallow looks like this. Circular plane. So also get another piece of A4 paper. If you're in America or elsewhere, it would be letter, and that's fine too. So I'm going to again direct the computer down. There we go, the camera down. So if we simply fold this in half, just because I want to make a slightly smaller piece of paper. So I think most of these sessions are usually around half an hour or so. And again, if you've given a good strong fold, you'd be nice and accurate. You should just be able to tear. Tiniest little crease. And then satisfying noise. As long as it's going in the right place. There we go. Now, I think this design actually was done with letter paper, so it would be good if we got rid of a little bit of a strip. So maybe about 2 centimetres. So I'm just going to fold over. It's just approximate. I think the dimensions are better if you do that. So just folding over the top, and I'm simply going to get rid of that strip. And again, you should be able to just tear it if you've given a good strong fold. So give it a tiny tear there. There we go. So to make the circular glider, we're going to do a diagonal, so from this corner down to this corner. It feels a bit strange because normally with origami you have a square, so everything matches up, but for this it doesn't match up because it's a rectangle. So if you fold in half and take your time, I think you'll need to take your time with this one, getting it so that it goes through the corners. Here we go. It feels like a quite a Friday. What's everyone up to? Hopefully not a lot, really. Maybe watching telly, maybe relaxing, maybe working. Don't know. Maybe on their phones. Maybe. So it should look like this. And we're almost there, believe it or not. This really quick one, this. And at the bottom, maybe about a centimetre or so, maybe a tiny bit more. Just folding it over. So we've got the bottom there, folding it up to make a nice little strip there. You see, nice little strip. And then turning it to the back and then doing another strip so it matches the other one. So you're bringing it back and it's just the same height as the previous one. So you can sort of feel it, really. Feel it there. That's it. Right, that's pretty much it. We're just going to make it circular next. So this goes on the inside. And I'd recommend maybe beginning to get it a little bit more circular. So you start sort of playing with it a little bit so it's curving it. So you should be able to get the edges and tuck one into the other. You'll see there's a few little sort of pouches, and I guess it's the one that's enclosed on both sides. I don't know if you can see in there. Lighting's not so great at this time, but you should play around and you'll find a way to be able to tuck one in the other. Obviously, you could use glue or sellotape, which you're welcome to do. I'm just having a go at doing it without. Let me see. I may regret that one, but let's giving it a go. There, you want it to stay, don't you? I'm still playing around with mine. There's usually a way, there's a few different areas you can tuck in with this. And then we'll just make it a little bit more circular. And then you see it's not that circular, is it, at the moment? Yeah, it's not staying. It's often the way when you're demonstrating. I wonder whether yours is working. You can use tape if you want, but it can work without. So it'd be good to get this a bit rounder. So you can just smooth that inside, and that should be good to go. So if I just show you how to fly both, maybe you could have some competitions at home. I don't know whether you're with someone else or not, but find out best planes you can make and which of these flies better. I'd be very interested to hear. There we go. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? No glue. Fantastic. It looks like a bit of a crown. And we've got the swallow. Right, let's see if we can fly them. I think I'm going to have to move this around. Take the board off. Live performance of a flying plane. And obviously the irony, because there aren't many planes at the moment, are there? Very good for the environment. Here we go. Right, move this around. Here we go. Just give it a few goes. Okay, so with the swallow, it's fairly obvious, isn't it, how to hold it. So there. And kind of keep it up so it's that sort of angle. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's sort of swooped around to the side, so often circles. Just give it one more go. Don't know if you saw that. This one, you hold it middle of this sort of crown. So if you put your fingers in the middle there, and then you push it forward, it will either plummet, which is when it's not working, or it will suddenly glide across quite well. So it requires a bit of practice. I've no idea whether this will work or not. Don't know if you saw that. It semi-worked. But it can, at the right angle, it can really glide. So I hope you've enjoyed those. Planes. And I wish you a good weekend. And maybe you could do some more making of planes. Maybe you could decorate them, find out which work. There will be lots of other designs as well. So you can also play around, make up your own. Obviously, the usual darts works very well too, but all of these fly in a slightly different way. So maybe you can get flying your planes this weekend. It's been lovely to see you, whoever you are, and thank you for joining me. Bye-bye. Good night.